ice cream, logical cream, flavors.
Let's make a move, get away, what's your flavor? Tell me what it is again. What you like, get it twice, what's your style? Let's get crazy, let's get lit, let's get wild. Take you out, show you off, what's your flavor? Tell me what it is again. Anywhere in the world, take you mild. Show me the real, you go and let it out.
Your flavor, vanilla mix on brown cones, rainbow sprinkles on your AP two-tone. I ain't about materials, is it?
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon, and we're here on 95 South TV. Once again, I want to thank God for this opportunity to come on here and be able to have this have a great show. It's, like I said, it's been a couple of weeks since we've been on. I had a couple of back-to-back funerals I had to go to, so that was kind of like crazy or whatever. You know what I mean? A crazy 2 weeks or whatever, but that's just the way life is sometimes. As you get older, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna experience those type of things. So I got my right hand man, you know what I'm saying, right here, Mr. Barry White, Mr. You know what I'm saying, Midnight Love show coming soon. My man Jacob the Great.
What's up, man? What's happening, man? What's good, man? We here in the land of the living, and we blessed by the best, man. We here.
It's funny, real quick before we get started. I'm at the barbershop yesterday. A funny story in the barber shout out to Chris Thomas on the barbershop. And I was at his church a few weeks back. And you know how the first time you ever be at somebody's church, they make you get up and introduce yourself and all that. He said, boy, I thought for sure you were going to get up and say, this is your boy Icon. I thought for sure you were going to get up and say that now. I said, boy, you crazy. I said, I couldn't say that in the church.
No. Hell no.
Boy, y'all boys crazy up here. Shout out to Gooch, Larry, all them boys. They be mad supporting us, man. Every time I go to the barbershop back home in the Pines, they always be like, man, we be checking you out, man. And you know what I mean? So I got a lot of people from back home that be supporting, man. They be definitely watching us. So we appreciate the support, no doubt. Anyway, man, let's get into this subject for the day. The topic is R&B dead? You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let you get started because you brought up the topic. So I'm gonna give you the floor on this one to start off with what your thoughts is, and I'm gonna follow.
My thoughts is, man, we used to hear all this good R&B on the radio when we was growing up, bro. And now, for some reason, now I'm not saying it's not good R&B music out there, because it is. There's a lot of good R&B music out there, but a lot of times, the true R&B heads feel like hip hop has overshadowed R&B so much, man. Is there any really true R&B out there? And why do people listen to most of the older R&B, as far as the 80s and 90s, 70s, and rather the new R&B artists? So are they not singing about love anymore? Are they not singing about commitment anymore? And I just feel like we got to get back to the true essence of R&B. You know what I mean? Because our R&B is a music that puts that emotional presence on you. Through the choice of whichever song you're listening to, man. And so I'm a huge R&B fan, man. And so I tell the R&B artists that's coming up, man, listen to some people, man. Listen, that's gonna help get your mind right in that writer's mode, man. So you can have a hit that the people appreciate. And so, that's what I think about R&B. What do you think about R&B? Is it dead, or is the listeners are not listening like they used to? What do you think?
Well, I don't think it's different, because the people's emotional capacity is different. Meaning, basically everything is, when people interact with each other, everything is through social media and through apps. So nothing is really that, okay, I'm gonna meet a girl in the mall, or I'm gonna meet a girl like at the grocery store, or like even like you get people nowadays. Oh yeah, what's your Snapchat? What's your Instagram? What's your, you know what I'm saying? What's whatever. What's your, whatever pages they using. That's how they they communicate with each other. They don't exchange phone numbers no more. They exchange social media pages. So at the end of the day, that reflects in the music because the young people that's doing the music, they are, they don't have any, they don't look at it like love in the way of the way of like a Keith Sweat begging music, or like Boys and Men, or even Jodeci. With they don't express themselves in that way. Of course, my son and his partner Darius and Cream, they got the group Dove. And if you listen to their music, it's a cross between like a Pretty Ricky. I got a little, you could say a little jagged edge to it a little bit. But like my son told me one day, he said, Dad, to be honest with you, these girls nowadays, rather you talk to them on that raunchy level than talk to them like, with the sensitivity and the elegance of, like of a Luther Vandross or somebody. That's the way they really, that's the way they want their R&B to sound. So I just think that it's different. It's not really dead. It's just a different sound. And for us to go back to what it was with somebody like a Big Frank that was on the show a couple of weeks, to go back to that, I think that it would have to be somebody that would have to have a hit record that's so big that would force it. Now you do got your Jasmine Sullivans, and you got certain artists. You got your what's called the Summer Walkers. So you do got some female artists that keep it sexy. You know what I'm saying, and on that level. But we don't have that male artist, and we dang sure don't really have the group. So I know Day 26 came out with a new album. I've been meaning to check it out. So maybe they can be the ones to bring it back. So we'll see.
That man said Day 26. Boy, I wasn't expecting that. Boy. Hey, I wasn't expecting that, brother. I wasn't expecting that, but
the only group right out. That's the only group out.
But speaking of Jasmine Sullivan, right? I thought it was very interesting when Jasmine Sullivan came out with that song. I bust the windows out your car, and every female said, "Oh, that's a woman's anthem." What? She's thinking about busting windows out the man car. Like, what the car did to you, mama? Like, and they think that thing was like next level. I was like, man, she ain't saying about how much she love him, how much she can't breathe without him. She said, I bust the windows out your car. And boy, they thought that was it. So when it comes to young people, man, they ain't they even had a slogan, a slogan when they was mad with dudes, they be like, to the left. I said, huh? It's like you know what they talking about, Jay? Man, they talking about that song, Beyonce, to the left. That's my car. That's my space. It's different nowadays.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that because you got to think one of the biggest songs ever made by TLC was No Scrubs. You know what I'm saying? And that was basically kind of, dogging the man out who it got to the point where if you was that guy pulling up on a girl when you parking lot pimping or you riding around, you know what I'm saying, trying to holler at girls, you know what I'm saying, if you was the guy on the passenger side, they didn't even want to look at you because of that song. And you might have a car. You just were happy to be with your homeboy that day, you know what I'm saying, going to the mall or going out, you know what I mean? Like, bro, just, jump in the car with me or vice versa. And you might got a whip, but they looking at you, oh, why are you trying to holler? You on the passenger side. But sometimes it was more convenient for a man. So this to let you know, ladies, sometimes it's more convenient for a man because if your homeboy driving and y'all pull up on a female, sometimes he might be closer to the female. Like he might pull up on that side where the passenger side might pull up on the female first, and he just be the one to holler. But don't mean he broke. Don't mean he don't got no money. Don't mean he don't got no car. He just happened to be home with his homeboy. Just like if you was with your homegirl going to the mall to go shopping or somewhere, you just happen to leave your car at the crib. You know what I'm saying? But that was a big thing for a minute. You know what I mean? You didn't want to go. You didn't want to leave the house without being in your whip. You had to tell your homeboy, nah, I just meet you there. because you ain't have me looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, or whatever. So, yeah, that's where we at with it, man. And man, we gonna go
And
right back here on 95 South and talk a little bit more about this thing. I see Jacob face. All right, we back here on 95 South TV, but yeah, man,
oh
yeah,
man,
that's what it
this
was.
is this is mad funny, man. You got me showing all my teeth. This is mad funny, bro. It's mad funny. Man, listen though, man. What I remember about R&B growing up, man. R&B made you want to pursue a woman. It made you want to go on a date. It made you want to really treat her really, really nice. R&B gave you that sense of urgency, man. Like, man, you know what? You know, I should be different than them other dudes, man. You know, she probably not even if you don't know what she been through in her past, but the good R&B made you wanna, be like, you know, let me slow down for a minute, and see what's up, man. So even with the dating scene, somebody was told me they was married for 22 years and they got divorced. They said that trying to go on a date nowadays is harder than pulling meat out of bear's mouth. They was like, people don't even know how to date this day and age. I said, man, like, what is? I was like, what do you mean? They was like, they don't know how to, greet you with a rose or pick it from your house and y'all have a nice dinner or go through a walk in the park or just go to an art museum and and y'all just vibe or just or just go to the lake and watch the sunset and y'all just vibing, things that put a little romance in your mental capacity as well. You know what I mean? And she said, like, I don't know what these kids learn from that. Well, they ain't learn from nobody. Because if you want to be technical about it, kids believe social media more than they believe their own parents. And they could
Well, you
have
know
two
what's
they can have two parents that's been together for 25, 30 years. But they'll believe somebody on social media before they believe their parents, which is crazy.
well, what's funny. You about to laugh at me on this one, but one of my favorite shows is back on TV,
What's that?
and that's Ready to Love. Ready to Love. So that's one of my top shows right there, and I just think that's the blueprint. Tommy got something right there. Nephew Tommy got something. This day in their 10th season, so that let you know how good the show. They in the 10th season. They in Philadelphia right now, and the Philadelphia women they different. Like
Oh, you
they
ain't got to
very
tell me, bro.
aggressive. They different. So already they only had 2 episodes and they already got a different type of swag about them, aggressiveness about them, no nonsense about them. But Tommy does show a blueprint of how to date with purpose, and that's the whole thing about trying to date with purpose because it makes both sides be like, okay, what do you really want? And then these men can't play games and whatever the case may be. The only problem I have with the show is when a man or a woman, especially when a woman, a lot of times she want the man to commit like the first episode. And if you ever watch the show Ready to Love, you can't commit the first episode because you end up getting kicked off because you're not developing other relationships with other people. Not to say you got to try to hook up with everybody on the show. You need to have about 2 or 3 people that you into for the first 5 or 6 weeks and not just commit to one person. So you know what I'm saying. So that's one thing about I feel like with when you look at that and then you equate it to music and R&B and in this day and time. I heard Vlad say he was talking to Day 26. He's on we interviewing him. He said he used to date a girl that she wanted to have sex to to Future all the time. They looking at him like, what kind of girl you dating, Vlad? You know what I'm saying? Like you have sex to Future. You know what I'm saying? So man, just let you know like where we at with music when instead of you putting on because I don't care if you are a bishop. I don't care if you're the top bishop in the country. If you having a romantic night with your wife and y'all get in the bedroom, you ain't putting on no Mahalia Jackson to have sex too. You gonna put on some, you gonna put on your Luther, you gonna put on, you gonna put on your Temptations, you gonna put on that. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
You know
no.
what I'm saying? So
Hell
yeah,
no. Hell no. Man. But you did,
they all,
but you done brought the pastor into it.
you know
But
what I'm saying?
hell no. Oh man.
All these they still holding it down. Oh man, they don't want their kids doing secular music, what they call it, and all of that. But if you having a romantic night with your wife or your girl, you is not putting on the Alabama, the blonde Alabama boys. You ain't putting them on. You know what I'm saying? You ain't putting no doggone BB and CC whining if you about to make love to your wife. You gonna put on some Temptations, some Four Tops. You gonna put on some, you know what I'm saying? Some Freddie Jackson. That's what you put on. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean?
Oh
So that's
man.
what we get back to that real R&B.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
Because
So Icon, another thing, man. While we talking about R&B, man. Um, I Promise by Jagged Edge is about to have its 25th year anniversary, and they supposed to
okay.
be doing a United States tour and possibly an international tour. So,
I need to find some tickets for that.
Jagged Edge, one of my favorite groups. So, you know what I mean. And I'll say this right here. Do you think we ever gonna see groups like Jagged Edge, Jodeci H Town, Blackstreet, Boys the Men, um, um, just some groups like Shy, Intro, Silk, Player, you know what I mean? Like, do you think we'll get back
I was
to the R&B groups? Now, I will say
obviously not because you let
the
huh?
last R&B group that did it so big, man. But it didn't last long. TGT, Tank Genuine Tyrese. Listen, man. Listen. I know a few people that went to see them. They said, "You talking about a show, man?" They was like it was one show where they did some of the songs, but the fans wanted them to do a separately, like 3 tracks a piece off any of their albums. And she said that show turned in.
Mm,
She's like that show turned in something that I think R&B is missing, man. And she said that when a lot of people heard what they did, man, she said the after party was so packed until the fire marshal came in. The fire marshal came in and said you can't let no more people in. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So, so I think, man, that and I was a huge fan of LSG too, like a huge fan. You know what I mean? Um, I probably knew every LSG song. You know what I mean? Like I used to listen to LSG a lot, man. So as far as you, man, R&B music and how you're grooving, what would you like to see? Who would you like to see put out a new album?
Well, see, the problem with a group like TGT with Tank Genuine and Tyrese, you know what I mean. We all love those artists. The problem with those groups sometimes it's like they come together when they're past their prime, so to speak. So it's kind of like when they come together, yeah, they gonna sell concert tickets, but they're never gonna get as big as they need to be on a sell your records streaming type level, especially in this day in this era, because they come together when they're past. Like Tank Tank never got as big as he should have. Tank had that one big hit, but he never got big. And Tank is a hell of a writer, hell of a singer, but he never got as big as he could have. You know what I'm saying?
So
Genuine, by the time
so
he got
so so what are you saying is Tank should have been in that arena with R. Kelly when R. Kelly was out and about.
yeah, like they that those type like artists like that, they should have got together a little bit sooner. But a lot of times these artists will wait till they fall off or they not having the same success. Then by the time they get together, it's kind of like the momentum is gone. So it's like they can't really capture but so much of what they had. Like LSG kind of when they did it, it was kind of like they did it right the right moment. Cause
Yeah.
if you remember, TGT never really got really big. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. It's kind of they had a moment of, oh, they're together, but they never really got big. Like LSG had that moment, that first album, they had their big moment. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But that's the problem with that. But to me, you said new album to come out. To be honest with you, I wish you could do it for prison. I would love to see R. Kelly do a new album for prison. Be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I love to see or whatever, because regardless of what he did or didn't do, the man, hey, he the GOAT. So I would love to see R. Kelly do an album for prison. Other than any other artist, um, I would love to see Jagged Edge come back and do a new album. I know Jodeci tried to come back a few years ago. They actually got a couple songs that I love that's not even from the old days, from like the newer stuff. Um, um, it's a song called I Wrote This Letter. I think it's called I Wrote This Letter. That's one of they. Well, I love that joint. I listen to that 4 or 5 times in a row. Of course, I would love to see New Edition do a new album. But the thing, the New Edition dropped the ball because they should have did an album right when they did the movie. When they did the movie, New Edition dropped the album right then and there. I
Yeah.
guarantee you that album would have went platinum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why. We take a quick break, and I'm gonna tell you why it would have went platinum if they would have did it right then and there. We right back on 95 South. If they did it, oh, okay, we back. If they would have did the album when they did that miniseries, that movie on BET, because I remember sitting there and my kids was watching the movie with me all 3 nights, and so I know like most of us could say that. A lot of us probably could say that. Probably watching that New Edition movie with your kids, you know what I'm saying, with your niece and nephews or whoever, you know what I mean? Because and then like our kids were able to see the impact that New Edition had and how good they were. Because when they did that scene, when they reenacted, can I stand the rain? When they did that scene, man, the
Yeah.
only other I could equate that to was the Temptation movie when they was reenacting, when they was showing them like in the studio recording the song, certain songs, you know, in the
Yeah.
studio or whatever. You know what I
Especially
mean?
that song, Papa was the Rolling Stone.
Yeah. You talking about with that was the one that had when Westcott was leading the group. What's the name?
Dennis Edwards.
Dennis Edwards when he was leading the group. Then when
Yeah.
they did that one, that's probably that's my favorite scene in a Temptation movie. When they recorded Papa was the Rolling Stone and they were showing all the stuff that was going on with them between the David Ruffin and Eddie Kendricks and
And Paul
not
Williams.
Eddie, huh?
Paul Williams.
Paul Williams and all of that, when they were showing like what they went through or whatever, that was one of the best scenes in the movie or whatever. Like I could watch the Temptation movie over and over. I could watch Ray Charles. I can watch the New Edition movie. You might mess around, make me watch some of them the movies tonight. You know what I'm saying? Week.
Yeah,
You know, get my head with them.
Yeah, man. I
You
was
know what I'm
watching
saying? So
last night, I watched Why Do Fools Fall in Love? The story of Frank and Lyman. You remember that movie?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah,
Yeah. That was a great movie, man. And what's crazy to me, man, is how these guys make it so big and they become heroin addicts or they get on crack or you know, just like the song Me and Mrs. Jones. That wasn't even about a woman. That was about him being addicted to heroin. You know what I mean?
really.
He called Miss Jones
I
heroin.
did not know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
man.
did
Yeah.
not know.
So yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, me and Miss Jones got a thing going on. You know what I mean? So and I just like I've talked with David Ruffin's son before, David Ruffin Jr. On plenty of occasions, man. And you know, he's telling me about the dispute about the royalties, his dad in Motown and stuff like that, man, and stuff like that, man. So, and he's like, hey, man, my dad had a rough childhood, man, a rough past, and he didn't like being told no, and you know, David, he's, you know, as they said, as Otis said on the Temptations, we know David is going to be David. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
David ain't listening to nobody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That man came out there at the Copacabana and said, "I'm David Ruffin, and these are the Temptations." My.
Yeah. Yeah. Bobby Brown repeated the same pattern as David Ruffin. That's the crazy part. Like you'd have thought Bobby Brown was David Ruffin's son because he literally did almost exactly the same thing that David Ruffin was when it come to the drugs, being that he was the number one guy in the group, getting kicked out the group. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing. The only thing he can do is, you know what
and
I'm
sleeping with a whole bunch of women, and both of them slept with so many women.
saying? Exactly. So you know, and the thing about it was David Ruffin, you know, he had his Whitney Houston, Tammy Terrell.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you know what I'm saying? And so he had his Whitney. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't know this, but Marvin Gaye started doing drugs because he was so depressed behind Tammy Terrell dying because she already had head issues. And then when she got with David Ruffin and David Ruffin was beating on her or whatever and hit her, they said one time allegedly he had hit her in the head with a hammer. He was
yeah.
so mad at her and hit her in the head with a hammer. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So it's like,
they said, man, with her dealing with David, man, that's the reason why she probably died, man, because you know she had so much trauma to her brain, and they
mm-hmm.
said at that time when her and David was having no disputes, she Marvin was depressed because she was carrying Marvin's child, which David thought was his, but David found out that wasn't his child, and it went from there.
So I didn't know
David
about
Ruffin.
that part. I just
Yeah, David. I seen the documentary. They said that David Ruffin had beef with Marvin Gaye and with Diana Ross.
And the thing about it was, have you ever seen like some of the old interviews with Marvin Gaye? Marvin Gaye, if you really sit down with Marvin Gaye, because Marvin Gaye kind of insinuated that I think Marvin Gaye went both ways too. You know what I mean? A little. Yeah, I think he went both ways. You know what I mean? Because he kind of insinuated that in a couple of his interviews. You know, especially his drug-induced days or whatever. So, you know what I mean? So, but if you see what it says on the bottom of the screen, that's another reason why R&B is not where it need to be, because you don't hear it really. You starting to hear it a little, like I said, with Jasmine Sullivan, Summer Walker's, some of the artists, some of the female artists, you starting to hear some of that come back, but they don't really push R&B music. The labels don't. You know what I mean? If they want to get rid of some of this bad rap, then start pushing some of this R&B again. You know what I mean? The one thing you gotta remember though, dog, in the 80s, what we grew off of? Hall and Oates. You know what I'm saying?
Phil Collins.
Boy George.
Phil
Phil
Collins.
Collins. Yeah, Phil Collins. Joe Michaels. We grew up off of, and I'm just naming them artists because it wasn't just about black artists. We grew up off of good music. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And then, you know, later on we had what's the white boy? We had John B. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So we had white artists that we listened to too, and we invited them to the cookout. You know what I mean? Or whatever. So that's what we need to get to, is just back to good music instead of always categorizing and especially the R&B of saying, oh, you got to look like this or whatever for you to have good music. You know what I mean? And one
We
of my, one of my favorite songs all the time is that Simply Red joint. On what's it called? I can't think of the name of it right now. Oh my God, because I have to see it. I have to see the video right now because he about to get on the train. But I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. It's in my head. But that red joint, that's one of my favorite like you know R&B joints. You know, even with Boy George, come on,
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Go back. That be my joint.
And
You know
you
what I
know,
mean? Stuff
and
like
then
that.
you had groups like Michael McDonald and the Doobie Brothers. Real soulful music, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Real soulful music. And man,
Yep.
and I always look at, man, the industry never pushed Avant like they should have. Avant got some great albums, bro. Very good albums, man. But
Mm-hmm.
he talked. I seen his documentary, man. He said that, man, he had to fend for himself. He said they wouldn't market him, they wouldn't promote him, man. Just because he didn't want to do what they wanted him to do. He said when you're an artist and you're a creator, man, the records that you have in your mind that's going to be a hit because you know what your target market audience is. Most of the labels don't really understand that because they're not the one with the target market audience. They're not the one with the cult
Mm-hmm.
following. They're not following the labels. They're following the artists. And man, I just think a Bunt was a dope dude all the way around, man. So like I don't think Maxwell blew up like he should have.
No, no, not to be the pretty boy look, but I'm gonna explain to people why these artists fell off the way they did when we come right back here on 95 South. So the reason why a lot of these are we back here on 95 South TV. The reason why a lot of these artists fell off so fast the way they did, because what would happen is it was a formula in with the record labels. A lot of these artists, they signed them back in the 80s and 90s and whatever, early 2000s, whatever it was, 70s, 60s, whatever. They would sign these guys straight off the streets. So basically, a lot of these guys, it wasn't like social media days where you have to blow up on social media then you get a deal. Back then, somebody might have heard you at a showcase or somewhere, a talent thing or something, or whatever. Your cousin might have knew somebody and got you a deal. So in your
Right.
first deal, you don't have any say so or how the deal is gonna go because basically somebody else putting up their money to sign you. So what happened is that first album or two, they bring in writers, they bring in producers. They might let you have one or two songs on the album that they let you write and come with like the one you might have. Let's just say you had a demo, and they may put the demo song on there on the album. But them other 12, 13 cuts is gonna be somebody that's wrote for you, somebody that produced for you. So now when the artist falls off, it's not because they don't sell records. Sometimes that artist might have had a album or two where they went platinum, double platinum, whatever. What happens is now you know your worth. So that third album, you like, listen, we want to create, we want to have our creative juices involved in the album. We want to write, we want to produce, we want to do all that. So when the label, and then if you fight and claw for it and make a fuss and throw a temper tantrum over it, they may let you do it. But you know what they're gonna do? Okay, we're gonna do it, but we're gonna make you push your own self then. So you want to do it, go on out there and figure it out. We ain't gonna put no money
Yeah.
behind you. We might do one video, one single we gonna push, and that's it. So the rest of it is on you. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. And that's kind of where the artists end up falling off because the label, because they can't have their way in the situation no more. They just give up on you and let you drown on off of what's going on because they really know that you don't really have the money to keep backing yourself. So really, to be honest with you, what artists need to do is if you blow up off that first or second album, save your money. Don't be buying all these cars and jewelry and all this other stuff. Save your money so you can pay for your own videos. So you can put the marketing dollars behind yourself. So when the labels tell you they don't want to put the money behind you no more because you won't allow them to come in and bring their own producers and writers in and steal all your publishing and all your masters, then now you can back your own and put up your own money. So that's the blueprint of how to be able to stay successful in the business instead of relying on the labels that kind of always carry you every step of the way. Then I'm gonna say this before you say something. Watch Cadillac Records. If you watch the dude Wolf on Cadillac Records, he was a perfect example of how you move because he basically told Muddy Waters and them, you let the you saying basically, I don't let the white man pay for me. I'm not the slave to the white man. You know what I'm saying? I got my own money. I don't beg. I don't ask him for nothing. I just tell him, give me what I'm worth. He ain't take no upfront money or nothing. He like basically just give me what I'm worth at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what he said, man.
that's really the blueprint.
He said, this truck, I own this truck. It don't own me. So just pay what you owe me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I said, hell no.
Like, I
said, hell no. He just come to that man labor and say, this truck, I own it. It don't own me. Just pay what you owe me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's the way you do it. Because a lot of artists go in, oh, man, I want $500,000 up front. I want $1 million up front signing bonus. Well, unless you got a bonus, and only time artists, when they get, you might get a signing bonus where it's kind of like in the NBA or NFL where you get a signing bonus, and that's like your money you can keep. You don't got to pay back. But a brand new artist is not getting a $500,000 signing bonus or $1 million signing bonus and basically be able to not pay that back. Because even T.I. had told, was it 21 Savage? I think it was 21 Savage. He told that too. He wanted T.I. to sign him, and T.I. was like, well, and he wanted $1 million. He said, if I give you $1 million up front, then I'm gonna own your music, and I don't want to do that to you. You know what I mean? So in other words, build yourself up. You know what I mean, or whatever on your own. I don't want to have to own your music like that based off of me giving you a check up front. You know what I mean, or whatever. So that's what a lot of artists don't realize. Don't always be so quick to want to take the money up front. You know what I mean, or whatever. Like if you feel like you really bet on yourself, you feel like you that good, let them market and distribute you, but don't let them give you money up front that you got to pay back if you don't sell 1 million copies, if you don't sell 10 million copies, or whatever the case may be. Right. You know what I mean? So that's the way you got to look at. That's where you got to look at this business. You know what I mean, or whatever, and whatever. So because everybody want to be independent. But everybody don't got independent money. Well, I hate when artists say, "Oh, I'm independent." Independent for what? What? Okay, you say you independent. Do you got any kind of money put up right now? Do you got money for radio? Do you got money for marketing? Do you got money for promo? Do you got money for a street team? You know what I'm saying? Do you got any of this? Can you wrap a van and drive it around from city to city, going to different festivals? If right now I say, okay, they got a festival, they got A3C, they got South by Southwest. Can you put the money up and go to it, pay for yourself to go? Can you do all that? If you can't do all that, then you don't need to be talking about your independent. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would tell artists in 2000.
And they still ain't gonna listen. And they still ain't gonna listen, bro. And they still not gonna listen to you, man. Hey, man, listen, man. Artists do stuff the difficult way, man. But I just want to say, man, this is why artists should do their research. Because if you look at James Brown, Al Green, Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, the Isley Brothers, they was all hot at one time and was bigger than life.
Mm-hmm.
How many artists right now they sing R&B as hot as Chris Brown? I don't know none.
No. Mm-mm.
No R&B artist is outselling Chris Brown and selling records right now, man.
Mm-mm.
And Chris Brown is one of the youngest cats in the world that own his own masters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, all the closest you got is maybe Jacquez and Jeremiah. They probably the closest thing to that. Whatever, to like two, but they not even on that level.
Nah, you know, man. Chris on a whole new stratosphere, man. Serious with it, man. Serious with it, man.
Come back, Usher. It's funny because these old school artists will come back, like a Usher come back, and it's funny to call them old school because Usher barely. I think Usher like 40 something, like 42 or something. But you know what I'm saying. But he considered old school at this point. But he had to come back.
He been in the game since he was 14 years old. So yeah.
Yeah. But you know, artists like they have to come back to show us what real R&B gonna sound like, and stuff like that. And like you said, you know, Chris Brown he'll give you some R&B cuts or whatever. You know, on that major scale, because you know everybody say Chris Brown is the closest thing to Michael Jackson for this era. You know what I mean, or whatever. So, you know, talent-wise he is. He ain't gonna never be. Nobody's ever gonna be big as Michael Jackson. But talent-wise he is. But as far The impact? No. Ain't nobody gonna ever be better than Mac. Ain't nobody ever gonna be bigger than Michael Jackson. Drake, as big as Drake is, Drake ain't never. People gotta realize with Michael Jackson, Mike used to have these jokers passing out. They would have to get carried to the hospital. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. They would have to. You know what I mean? It was crazy with Mike. Mike was on a different level. You know what I'm saying? Mike was on a whole different level. You know what I mean, or whatever. When it comes to his
Mike. You know what I mean? So Mike Jackson got people jumping off buildings way in Tokyo. I love you, Michael. I can't believe you're going. Poop, they jump. Man, what the hell? Oh boy, Mike Jackson was something different, man.
Yeah, we're gonna take one last break and we're gonna continue this conversation. We right back on 95 South. All right, we back 95 South TV. Yeah, man. So I just feel like, man, you just got to find. I remember years ago, I knew this cat, man. He was trying to groom this little kid group. It was like 3 or 4 of them in a group, little teenagers or whatever. And you know, it's just hard to kind of break, because especially everybody try to follow the same blueprint. You know, everybody now want the ratchet female rapper, you know, to sign her. You know what I mean? Instead of like going after real talent, you know, some real talent out there, and finding like a good R&B group that can really sing and whatever. I think if a label won't put money behind a good R&B group, I think that we can get back to it. It's just that it just got to be somebody that either somebody who has the money on an independent level side or a major label side to put up the money. And then you got to be willing to invest in yourself as far as your own concert, your own tours. You know what I mean? Like, do your own concerts, do your own parties. You know, don't always wait to jump on somebody else's stuff. You know what I mean? Create your own thing, and then get you some sponsors. You know what I'm saying? Get you a bank, or get you a, you know, some kind of major company to sponsor your tours and your concerts as you go around the country and around the world. You know, trying to move like that. That's another way. I mean, it's gonna take a lot of hard work and dedication. But if you really believe in yourself, you got a good team around you, that's another way to go with it. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's why we created 168 Radio. We created 168 Radio. So before we get out of here, we're gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down to people again. What about 168 Radio? It's just a radio station. It's about a movement. So we got everything from R&B, hip hop, old school and new school, Southern soul. We're gonna have some gospel. We're gonna even have some country music. We might have some EDM. We gonna have good music. We're gonna have podcasts. We're gonna have blogging. We're gonna have DJs on there with their own sets. We're gonna have a little bit of everything. So it's just about us having our own thing. And people already hit me up like, man, I loving your playlist right now, man. I'm loving what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because the thing about it is with us, we not your typical radio station. See, the thing about it, what people don't realize, the major record labels run radio. That's why you hear the same 10 songs every hour. The Drakes, you know what I'm saying? The you know, especially in Atlanta with Future and T.I. and Young Thug or whatever, and Gunna. You hear the same 10 records. Us, you might rotate, and throughout the day, you might hear 50 different records in one day that you never heard before. You know what I mean? Or whatever. So it's just one of those things where we create something that nobody else is going to have and whatever, and be able to duplicate. You know, at the end of the day, what we're going to be doing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So especially when we get on it, we just getting started. You know.
Stay tuned.
Getting started. Oh, yeah, definitely. So shout out to Zeno FM, radio affiliates, 191 countries, the whole 9 yards. You know, like I said, we're just gonna keep this thing rocking and rolling. We'll be back next week with the breakdown show too. Next week we'll be doing Big Daddy Kane. So we'll be back with that next, you know what I mean, or whatever. So we're gonna keep that going also. So anyway, everybody, man, y'all have a blessed and wonderful week, and we see y'all next week. You know what I'm saying? Back here on 95 South TV. It's good to be back and good to be seen. You know what I'm saying? I'll let y'all. One.
Brown skinned girl, and she knew I was out to go and clear my mind.